everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video I'm going to be doing a what I spend in a week as a 20-year-old on a budget. And so I've seen these videos going around YouTube, and I thought this would be fun to do because I think it's interesting to see how people from like different backgrounds and, you know, careers spend their money on. So I feel like mine's very unique as well because I am a PhD student, so I still don't make, you know, a lot of money. So I've been very conscientious going into this year, being, you know, very, you know, strict to my budget, focusing on, you know, contributing to my Roth IRA, paying off my student loans. So I feel like on a week-to-week basis I'm very strict in what I'm spending, so I wanted to kind of include this here. But I'm also in a very unique position as well, given kind of like my position. So I am a 26-year-old. I live at home, so I live with my parents, so I don't have to pay for rent and other utilities. Sorry, I'm getting an email. But I realize that is a very kind of privileged, you know, position to be in. So I don't have to kind of worry about, you know, rent and everything like that. So I'll kind of have a breakdown here of what my kind of goals are. And so for two kind of like the breakdown of my budgets, but for 2 weeks I allot myself $100. So this video is going to cover 2 weeks of essentially what I spend kind of money wise. And these 2 weeks were a little bit different too, because like usually I literally spend like maybe $20 a week or over the 2 weeks, but these 2 weeks were a little bit different because I had to get a dress for a wedding that I'm gonna hopefully still be on sometime in June, and I had my haircut and a doctor's appointment as well. So it had more kind of money spending things, but this is kind of me focusing on sticking to my allotted $100 per 2 weeks. So let's go ahead and see how I did. So as you guys could see, I'm very strict in my budget. Every dollar basically is accounted for, and it goes to certain things, whether it is kind of planning towards my health insurance that I have to pay for each month, or car insurance, or savings and student loans. So it kind of goes off from there. So for my 2 week kind of budget, I allot myself $100, and this is things that I want or need. If I need new toiletries, if I need to add gas to my car, things like that, or if there's anything I want to treat myself for something special or upcoming occasions, those type of things. So this budget, as I said, is for 2 weeks. So I got paid on March 26th, and it will go all the way to April 8th, which is the day before my next pay period. And this count in particular, I only keep $100 in, and if there is emergency, I do have a particular savings account for those situations. But ultimately, the goal of this budget is to not spend it all, so I try to be very conscientious of what I'm spending. So now that I've kind of explained everything, let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty guys, so today was an exciting day. I was able to get my COVID vaccine, which is really exciting. I got the Pfizer one. So to kind of, yeah, I'll quickly kind of, but that is so exciting. But yeah, so in honor, like to commemorate this big moment in history. Sorry, wearing a mask makes me super sweaty, but I was like, you know what, I'm near my school, so I'm going to treat myself to a bubble tea, which I haven't had in a long time, and it's important to support local businesses, especially the Asian American kind of owned businesses. So I did that, and then they had a $5 credit card minimum, so I also got a toffee bar. So the order came to $8 even, but I gave a $2 tip. So I have to go that. So I spent $10 already, and I'm about half a tank of gas because I did have to drive downtown. So I'm hoping that I won't, over this 2 weeks, have to pay for gas, because I have to, obviously I've had to drive downtown, and then next Friday I have some errands that I need to go out and about for. But yeah, so usually I don't spend this much money in like right on payday, but today was a very, you know, I was very happy. So in the meantime, I also need to stop by my school. I need to pick up some of my other stuff there, because I know for basically the rest of like my PhD I won't need to be there. So I just brought home my tea that I kept there, and so there's no point of it sitting there. So I will drive over to that. But I also want to try this toffee bar too, because it looks really good. So that's what I treated myself for, some bubble tea and a coffee bar, but I can never drive and drink bubble tea at the same time, so that will have to wait when I get home. But yes, this is very exciting, but I am so excited. Like, oh, I didn't even feel the shot. Like, I hate shots, but this one did not bother me at all. So after today, my daily total came to $10.25. So Saturday ended up being a very special day because I've had my eye on this dress for a while, and I saw today it was on sale for 50% off. And my cousin's getting married in June, so hopefully everything will be okay at the border for us to go back home to Canada to do it. But I decided, regardless, I'll have a dress that is 50% off. So it worked out today too that the sale was only for today, so I was very happy that I decided to go, and I really liked it. And it even has pockets, which is an added bonus, as all girls can agree. So the total came to $21.34. So I decided, since I was out and about anyways, that I treat myself to an iced tea at Dunkin', which came to $2.69, and it came to a grand total of $24.03 for the day. So over the next few days, I didn't spend any money at all, but on Tuesday, I ended up receiving a book in the mail that I pre-ordered back in February. So when I did this pre-order purchase, I used some of the gift cards that I had over Christmas, so I ended up paying a total of 19 cents, which, if you ask me, is quite a steal. So I submitted one of my research projects to a conference and it got accepted. So in order to present this presentation, I have to pay the registration fee, which luckily for students was only $10. And because this is related to school, I do get reimbursed from my professor. So even though I had to spend $10, I do get reimbursed. So I essentially just broke even here. So Friday ended up being my biggest of my spending days, so I needed to take my guitar to the music store because it needed some repairs, and so I brought it there and it ended up costing $20. So I decided, since I was out and about anyways, that I would stop by town since it was near the music store, and of course I had to stop by the bookstore, but I was very good. I didn't purchase a single thing. I did, however, decide to treat myself to a Starbucks, so I got myself an iced tea, which cost $3.25, and so I just walked around town and just enjoyed the nice weather. Even though it was like 2 degrees out, it was nice and sunny, so I wasn't complaining. And then I also, when I was leaving, I noticed that the ice cream shop opened, so I decided to treat myself to ice cream. They have the best ice cream there, and I haven't had it in like a year, so it ended up being $5. After this, I had to go to a follow-up doctor's appointment from a surgery that I had 2 weeks ago. So the copay ended up being $50, but because this was over my kind of allotted remaining budget, I used my money from my emergency fund to pay for this. And then afterwards, because the hairdressers had to reschedule my appointment at the last minute, I ended up getting my hair appointment for 50% off. So it ended up being $28.20, including tip. So at the end of the day, me and my family decided to go for a walk in one of the metro parks near our house, which was free. So I wanted to include some video here as well because Tucker had a great time. So Friday ended up being my most expensive spending day. So I spent a total of $56.45, but a lot of this were things that I needed to do, like get my hair cut for the first time in 8 months and repair my guitar, which was in dire need of that. So I figured a lot of these were necessities, and because I had such a small balance of $9.08, I decided not to spend any of that money for the remainder of the pay period. So that was kind of everything that I spent over these 2 weeks of my budget. Alrighty guys, so it is the end of my 2-week budgeting period, so it's time to do my little wrap up. So overall I spent $90.98 over the course of the 2 weeks, and this is typically what, like, I feel like this is compared to like my normal, this is a lot more spending than what I kind of normally do, and I think it's because I had my haircut, I had my guitar repair, I had like all these other things, so, and my dress as well, so it was a little bit more on the expensive end of these two budgeting things. But I have my little spending log here to look at. So for the mass majority of it, the biggest thing was actually my haircut, and I got it at a discounted price when I got 50% off and I tipped 20%, so that ended up being 31% of my overall budget. And then the next biggest thing would have been my clothing item, which was my dress, which was $21.34, which again, these are two things that I don't normally do. This was my first haircut since August, so it felt very good to have that. And then a dress for hopefully my cousin's wedding, which will hopefully happen in June, but as of right now everyone back home in Toronto is back in lockdown, so I don't know what the COVID climate is gonna look like then, but at least I have like a nice summer dress, or whenever they get married, when it is safe to do so with everyone there, I will have my dress ready to go. That's a good, and the dress was a good one too for me to wear around. So next up was food, which made up 23% of my overall spending, and these are things like I was just out and about and happened to get. But yeah, I think like on a normal basis, I think I maybe spend like, maybe over the 2 weeks, maybe like $10 to $20 on like iced teas or anything. Like me, because I don't leave the house very often during like the work week, so like on the weekend I will treat myself to like a Starbucks or an iced tea from Dunkin'. Like that's like my treat of like getting out and about. So you know, that's typically, you know, what I actually spend my money on. The next thing was my guitar repair, which made up 22% of my spending, and again, that was one that I was holding off getting for a long time, and it just gotten to the point where it was just so painful playing the guitar because the strings were so bowed out that I was like, you know what, I need to just bring it in. So that was something that I needed to do for a long time now, and I just finally got around to doing it. But that one was again very necessary as well. And then we got on to only less than 1% for these things, so less than 1% for parking, and then for my remainder of the balance for my book with like the gift cards and everything. So overall I think I did a really good job at sticking to my budget. Like again, like I said, this was an abnormal kind of 2-week period because I did have things that were lined up that are typically things that I don't do every week, like get a haircut or have to get my guitar repaired or get a dress for a wedding. So, but normally if you look at this based on what I mostly spend my money on, which is food, which came to $21, so that is normally what I spend, with maybe a book or two thrown in over the course of, you know, the week or whatever. But for the most part, like I said, I think I mostly spend less than $30 for the 2 weeks. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I think it's interesting to see how different people spend their money on when they're in different financial situations, if they're still students, if they're working full time. Even though I do get paid as a student, I'm not making like, you know, thousands upon thousands of dollars. So I'm very conscientious. I'm very much focused on maxing out my Roth IRA, saving money in my like travel fund that I want to do once I graduate. Not now during the COVID era, but you know, post-COVID I want to do like a trip when I graduate for my PhD. So like I've been very focusing on kind of investing in myself now, like investing myself for the future, than kind of, you know, buying things here or there that, you know, Like, I really want a Nintendo Switch, but I've been wanting it for a year, but I don't want to spend that money on something, because I'm like, I would literally have to budget basically a month's worth of my like want money to get one. So, you know, I would like it, but it's just too expensive right now. But I definitely will be doing more of these in the future if you guys are interested. I think especially when it's the summertime and I won't be tied down to my class schedule, I think it'll be a little bit more interesting to see, because this was, like I said, like an abnormal week in terms of spending. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see more videos like this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.